afternoon, Zablon, and good afternoon to the rest of our learners. Yes, it is quite rainy in South Africa. We are literally covering ourselves in jerseys because we don't know. The sun comes out and it goes away in a few minutes. So just keep warm if you're in South Africa. And across the entire continent, I hope you are all in a very cool state. So that is it. Yes, thunder strike you. If you don't respond to Zablon today, the lightning is right here. I will just send it to you. So let's give each other a good reaction and see if it's working. Thank you. Back to you, Zablon.
All right. So yeah, can take it over. Allow me to share my presentation slide. So yeah, there it is. So today, what you're going to learn at the core of this lesson, number one, you're going to practice how to create a user account and assign appropriate roles and privilege to ensure secure access within the database. Okay. Number two, we're going to explore how to manage access permission and ensure what you call proper authentication and authorization for secure data handling. You don't want everyone to access your data. Okay, you want to limit the number of connection you have to your database. The other thing we are also going to learn about is what you call indexes. Okay, and adding indexes to database table, analyze the impact of indexing on query execution and overall database performance. So yeah, so first things first, let's start by defining what exactly an index is. So an index, we can say an index is a special lookup table that the database uses, that the database search engine can use to speed up data retrieval. It's simple. I like to keep it simple. So you can only say when someone asks you what an index is, just say indexes are ways you can use to retrieve data from a database quickly. Keep it simple, keep it short. Okay. I believe everyone can remember with the definitions that I've given you. An index is a way to improve or the performance, not performance, but to improve your queries. Okay. So we say is used to retrieve data from a database quickly. Indexes uses what you call a B-tree data structure. So if you ever go for a database administrator um, interview and then they ask you, well, what kind of index, not index, data structure does an index use? You'll say a B-tree, okay? B-tree, B hyphen tree. Tree, they just the normal tree. B for boy, capital B hyphen tree. That's the kind of data structure the index use. So I know everyone has created a table. So when you create a table with a primary key, MySQL creates a special index named primary. This index is called clustered index. We use it to enforce the order of rows in a table. Okay. Now, with that, we've defined what an index is. So index, keep it short. They're used to do what? To retrieve data from a database quickly. Okay. They're used to retrieve data from a database quickly. That's the best definition I can give you. Pardon, which index? Okay, we are defining what an index is. So we said an index, okay? An index is a special lookup table that the database search engine can use to speed up data retrieval. B hyphen tree. Tree, just the normal tree, like the tree that you have outside. Yes, B hyphen tree. You're going to see it later. Yes, B tree, William. Thank you. Now, as huh? William. Okay, yeah, that's correct, William. B tree. Now, I said when you create a table with a primary key in the background, MySQL does what? Creates a special key called primary. We call that clustered index. Clustered index. The reason why it's there, we use it to enforce the order of rows in a table. Now, to the main focus of today's topic is the user management and privilege. Now, user management is one of the most important responsibility of anyone hoping to manage a MySQL database system. It is usually a good practice to use the root account for administrative function exclusively. Exclusively. For other tasks, create a new user account and grant the necessary privilege. Just like the normal way, usually have multiple user in your computer. I believe everyone has. For Windows users, the root user is the admin. For Linux and Mac, root is now that main guy. That guy that you have uh, to talk to, maybe to allow. I know in real life, you always have that one guy that you usually have to talk to, whether you want a job, maybe you want what could it be? Maybe you want something that is highly confidential. You always have that one guy that you have to talk to before you can get that thing, right? So in computer world, we have what you call a root user. So this user is the one that has all permission to do everything. I know when you're installing MySQL Server, you saw there was a user that's listening to root. Now, the user that I'm talking about is that user called root. Later on, we can see how you can change their name to maybe your name, and then you can be signing in using your name. If your name is John, if your name is William, if your name is Alex, you can use that instead of root. So we have what you call roles. Okay, no, privilege. So with privilege, you've created a user. Maybe my user is called Alex. And then I want to assign Alex, okay? Just pay attention to what I'll show you. I'll sign, just allow me to log in to show you how to explain that one better. Don't log in first. Just pay attention. Now, where is this one here? For example, I have list of database. I have Compass, I have Demo, I have SalesDB, I have School, I have Train Booking, right? I want to create a user called Alex. And then I want to make sure Alex can do everything to this database. They can either delete, they can create a new one, they can either change the way it is, they can change some certain data. We assign them what we call global privilege. Come to the second one. Now that is global. Global means he has access to do what? To create another user. He has access, he has privilege or permission to create another database. He can do whatever he wants. Now we have what we call database privilege. You can see my list of database. I have Compass, Demo, SalesDB, School, Seats, and Train Booking. Let's say I want to create a user who will only have one permission, and their permission will be what? The train booking, right? Or it can even be the SalesDB. This means if I create another user called Peter, Peter will only have access to this database, this and this only, not any other, only the sales database. He cannot access the school, he cannot access the train booking, he cannot access the demo, he cannot access the campus. He'll only have access to the sales DB. This means you only have access to one database. That means it's a database privilege. He has been given what you call database privilege. The other privilege is the table privilege. So with table privilege, you can see if, when I open the sales DB, I have a list of tables. I have customers, employees, offices, order details, orders, payment, product lines, product, and student. Now, I want to create a user that can assist me on managing the customer table. Just pay attention kindly. See where I'm hovering my mouse. This is the customer table, right? The customer table. I want to create a new user, but the new user will have access to only this table, not anything else within this server, only this table. Do you see this table? I believe everyone can see this table. This one that we call customer. This is the only table they'll have access to. They can either delete a record, they can delete a row, they can change the column name, they can change anything. If you assign anyone what you call a table privilege, that means they only have access to this table, not any other. That is all about the privilege. Let's learn about another important concept, what you call roles. Now, with roles, managing access and granting privilege to individual users can be very time-consuming and cumbersome. This is why MySQL provides the ability to create roles. Roles are granted privileges assigned to users. The user inherits the privilege of roles. Later on, I'll show you how to create roles and then how you can sign into a database. Now, the next concept is on the grant statement. Now, I'll just touch on things to do with privilege, but I never told you how you can assign a privilege. So in SQL, we have a grant command. With a grant, you can use this command to assign one or more privilege to user account. So you create a user, maybe the user is called Gerald, and then you assign Gerald a certain permission. We use the grant statement. I'll show you how the grant is used. Are we all together on that? The grant statements. All right, cool. Thank you for that affirmation. Now, we have what you call revoke. So with revoke, revoke statements is just remove the permission that you have. If you had permission to maybe create another user or create a new database, and right now, maybe, okay, let me use a good example. You've been hired, right, to work in a certain company. Let's call that company X. And then maybe your contract ended in that company X. Now the admin will have to do what? Revoke all the permission that you had in that database, meaning you no longer have permission to do what you could do when you were hired in that company. So we use the revoke statement to remove permission. Just keep it simple. Grant to add permission, revoke to remove permission. Grant to add permission, revoke to remove permission. Okay, are we good on that? So two commands, the grant and the revoke. Grant is to add, revoke is to remove. Grant is to add, revoke is to remove. Okay, I was to play you this now. Okay. So I can first
Okay, you're good to go.
let me ask, what would have happened if Peter was black or brown? Now, you get the point of revoke, right? Yes, now that's revoke. You don't have permission. Okay, so I have to scream you. Now, if you are ever hired, please never delete the user's table from the production database. Otherwise, that day you'll have a field day. You're gonna sweat. Yeah. Now, this will be you after deleting the production database. Yeah, he will be revoked. Thank you, Vincent. Good. Now, I just need one person to read for us this so that we can go to writing the commands. Joy. Joy, well, Joy, you have the mic. Joy. Okay, Joy is not there. Let's go to Motsoane. I believe I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Motsoane? Yeah, you have the mic. Okay, looks like you're not supposed to ask for Mwangi.
Yeah.
Mr. Ashford. Yes, Ashford. Do you watch Formula One? Ashford.
No, I don't. I
All right,
usually
you can just
sometimes.
fix that. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, read for us the first one.
Checkpoint questions. The first one. Name 3 types of privileges levels supported by MySQL.
Yeah, guys,
Number
I've
2.
just mentioned. Okay, no, we wait first. They respond. I've just mentioned the type of privilege that you have. Yes, Daniel Gila. Perfect. Alex, that's impressive. Susan Wangoi, that's Amos, Beth. Yeah, I can see we have Mercy, impressive. So let's go to the second one.
The second one. What is the purpose of the drop user clause in SQL?
Now, I know I haven't taught you that, but if you're to delete a user completely, oh, okay, I've already given you the answer. So when you want to delete a user completely, we use the drop user, okay? And then you specify the name of the user. If the user is called Gerald or Asford or me, and then you use the drop user command. Now, the other one, the final one, okay, the second last one, Asford.
What is the importance of grant? Yes. What is the importance of the grant command in SQL?
Yeah, what is the importance of the grant command in SQL? Remember I said grant is to what? To add permission. Just keep it simple. Privilege permission, okay? Revoke, remove permission. If you sing that song, you're good. Grant, add permission. Revoke, remove permission. If you ever ask revoke, just remember the meme I shared with you for Peter. And I asked you, if Peter was black, what would have happened to him? Yeah, I think you remember revoke, right? Yes. Now, the final question. What is the importance? Password.
What is the importance of having an index in your database?
Yeah,
Yes.
guys, what is the...
The
Yes,
fourth
I can
one,
see
the
Lydia
last one says,
Wahoo, Evelyn Mute, Easy Retrieval, Itemba. Next one. Good. Thank you so much. We can all clap for Asford. Yeah, just react with the claps. Yeah, you've really tried. Thank you so much, Asford. Let's go to the next one. Motsoane. Now, Motsoane, I've given you permission to talk. Please read for us the key takeaways.
Which hello, I unmuted myself. I
Yeah.
think. Do I sound?
Yes, your sound is good.
Am I audible?
Go on. Yes, you're audible.
Okay. So number one, use the create user statement to create a new user in the MySQL database server.
Number 2.
Use the create index statement to create a new index for a table. Number 3, a database index enhances retrieval speed but comes with a cost of increased written overhead. Number 4,
I'll explain that. Yeah.
use the grant statement to grant privileges to a row.
Thank you so much. Nyabonga. Gerald taught me that. I don't know if it's
You're
correct.
It is correct.
Yeah. All right. Now, we've completed our slides. Can see so many questions. Share the slides. All right. I'm sharing the slides. Let me just share the slides. But just know that you'll not be able to follow the slides as I write the commands. So I'll recommend that you just maybe take a pen and a paper, and then where is that now? Share. Okay, I can see the button share. Now I've shared the link to the slides. There you can have it. So let's go to the SQL workbench. So you can open your SQL workbench. Okay. Now, I already have mine open, but I can close it so that we open together. So open yours if you're following along. But if you're not able to, okay, please just write down. It's easier when you write down and then do it later than trying to write as I write. It's hard because you can switch your screen back and forth. You can keep on minimizing this. You come and watch what I'm doing and then come back and write it. It's hard. So the best thing is just take a pen and a paper and then write the commands that I'll be writing. That is easier rather than trying to follow along as I do it. It's hard. So I'll sign in. I'll just remove that. So we can start now. Zoom in. Okay, so let's start with creating an index. So to create an index, I have a list of various databases, but my main area of focus will be in the sales DB. So write this. How do we say we tell the server which database do we want to work with? Yeah, type in the chat. How do we tell the server which database do we want to work with? Daniel, Evelyn, Beth. Yeah, we write use, right? And then what? The name of the database. Just write down. We usually write use to tell the server which database we want to work with, and then specify the name of the database. All right. So my main area of focus will be the sales DB. Note this down. Right. Now, once you're done with that, go to the next slide. We want to do what? To create an index. But before we create an index, I want to show you how we can retrieve data and then be able to improve the query performance. So let's select, okay. Select what? Select employee, not employee. Select employee number, comma. Where am I getting this? These are the columns name in the employees table. Where do I get the employees table? It's in this database. This one. It's here. Usually, most of the time, you might be given a database that you don't know the number of columns that are there. So you can always start by maybe describing. Okay, it's supposed to be described like that. The name of the table is called employees because I want to get the column names or the name of the columns, how the name of the columns they appear. So you can see when I try to execute directly without starting from here, I got an error. Let me just start from here. We get that. So these are the columns that we have in the employees table without even having to look at the data. We have the employee number, the last name, the first name, the extension, the email, the office code, reports, and job title. This is what we call the column. And then this is what we call the data type. And then here we have null, means does it have a null value? Is there a null value allowed? As you can see, no, until the last one. Okay, this one say yes, meaning it can have no data. So instead of no data, it will be written now, like that, absence of data. And then the key is primary. This one, the other one is called what? MUL. I don't know what that is. Now, the extra, nothing there. Now, we've seen the kinds of field or columns that we want to work with. So let's try to fetch, select, employee number, comma, the last name, like that, comma, and then the first name. Go to the next line to get somewhere to write. Just give me 1 minute kindly. Yeah, I'm back. Now, first name, go to the next line. Write from. Why are we writing from? Because we want to fetch data from a particular table. Now, what is the name of this table? The name of this table is called employees, like that. Then you put a what? A semicolon. Please take the shortest time to write. Not write on your terminal or on your workbench, but write in your books. Select employee, last name, first name from employees. That's the name of the table. If I execute this, we're going to see the employee number, the last name, and the first name. Execute. There we have it, right? So we have all these employees. So let's say a scenario where you ask, get me all employees whose job title is sales rep, because maybe I want to send them to do maybe a field work today, send them a very nice email, and then tell them maybe you've been assigned some certain work in certain area, just go there. So I want to get all employees whose job title is sales rep. So to do that, I'll remove that semicolon, come back to the next line, right? And then write where, because I want to search, to make a search. Job title is equals to sales rep, like that. Close it, terminate it. Okay. So select employee number, last name, first name. From employees whose job title is sales rep. We can also add another column here to be job title, so that you see all employees who are going to be fetched, their job title must be sales rep. If I execute, we get what? All employees whose job title is sales rep until the end, and their employee number, their last name, their first name, and that. All right, now, before we even touch on that, let's see what actually happened in the background. We can use this tool called explain. explain to me what will happen if I execute. Okay, we have already seen what the result will be, but you might want to know what will happen before you execute some certain command. To do that, use explain. Now, please note, explain is only used with the DML commands. I believe we've touched on the DML command. So yeah, if you've forgotten, please just mention in the chat for others to remember the DML commands. Now, if I execute, you'll see that for this query, it will have to scan the number of rows is 23, right? It will have to scan 23 rows to get for me all the employees whose job title is sales rep. Okay, if I remove this, we got all those employees. Okay, let me just go to the next slide, select there. So if I execute, we get all the employees use sales DB. There we have all the employees, right? Now, there's this tool. Can't remember how I should, okay, there. So this tool that looks like a magnifying glass, you can count these icons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to get like a graphical of what actually happened, right? So you can see when I executed this, select employee number, last name, first name, and job title. From employees where job title sales rep, it can show you what actually happened. So the query started by scanning my entire table. It scanned the entire table, which had 23 rows, to get my results back. So what will happen if we add an index and then try to do the same? So I'll open a new working area. I won't close this. So the query cost is 2.55. Now let's open a new working area and then tell the server which database I want to work with. Now to create an index, you write create index, and then this is where you specify the name of the index. So if it was you who was creating this index, what name would you give it so that you improve the query performance for the sales employees? You can just write there in the chat, then I'll pick the first one. Give me an index name. Anyone who would like to volunteer and give us an index name? Yeah, I'm asking. So if it was you who was creating this index, what name would you give to this index, or what name would you call this index? Now, Amos. Okay, yeah, let's go with Williams. So I like calling mine like this. That's rep, okay? And then write on. After writing on, you rest kidogo. And then write the name of the table is what? Employee. Open a bracket, specify which column do you want to add an index such that if you want to improve the query performance, next time you'll get results quickly. So for our case, we want to do what? We want to job title column like that. It's employees like that. Terminate it. Is it visible on your end? So we started with create index, This is the name of the index, okay? And then you write on, it's a keyword. All these that you see in blue, we call them keyword. And then this is the name of the table. Where am I getting this table name? The table name is here. If you open the sales DB, that's where you get the table name. Open a bracket and then specify which column do you want to add an index to. Now let's execute. We execute from here. If I execute, we get a green check, create index. Now let's see if the index has been created. Employees index, date is IDX sales rep, right? Now remember, when we started, I said the data structure that is usually used is what? B-tree. As you can see, it's written here. Just see where my mouse is, please. Look at my mouse, B3. You can write just B-tree, okay? The type of data structure is B3. The column is job title, all right? Now, let's try again to see now if I come back and copy this. I'll take it to a new working area so that we don't get confused. I'll write here, use sales like that. Now, before I even execute, let's try to explain what will happen. If I execute, let's see, initially was 23. But if I execute now, what will happen? It's telling us what? 17. So it has moved from 23 to 17. Imagine a scenario where you had like 1,000 records. I know our table it has a few records. If you had like 10,000 of record, and then you're being told, search for all employees whose job title is sales rep. And maybe you have your sales rep in Uganda, Nairobi, everywhere, okay? Maybe there are so many. You want to get all of them. So instead of trying to just fetch them the regular way, you can add index to improve the query performance. So what will happen if I execute this? Even before I execute, let's try to highlight it. And then click on that. I want you to notice something. Initially, it was 2.27. Right now, okay, not 2.27, but okay, we still have it here. It was 2.25, and it had to go through the whole table to scan the entire table to get what? Those employees whose job title is sales rep. After adding an index, we improved the query performance using what? The index IDX sales rep, and then it got for us what? Only 17 rows. So meaning it filtered only those columns that had sales rep as job title, not everything. Initially, it was fetching everything. But after adding an index, it only fetched those columns that had, okay, not column, but row that had sales rep as their job title. React with a thumbs up if you understood how to create an index and how you can use an index to improve query performance. Good. Now, I've created an index. Maybe I don't want it anymore. How do I delete an index? Okay. So, okay, I see guys are saying repeat. Okay, I'll repeat one more time. So I said to improve query performance, we usually use what index. Initially, when I wanted to search for employees whose job title, it doesn't mean you only have to use the employee. You can try it with other table that you have here. You can try with payments, order, offices, student, all that, as long as it has a good number of records or rows, so that you get to see what is actually happening. So when I did this, initially it was scanning the entire table. For example, if it was an application, then the application is connected to this sales rep, meaning it will be slow because it has to wait for the database to complete scanning the entire table to get for me all the employees whose job title is sales rep. Now, instead of waiting, you can create what you call an index. Remember, I started by saying we use an index to improve or reduce the amount of time it takes to retrieve data from a table. Okay? We use indexes to improve query performance or make your query more faster. So I started by executing this. Now I know you're asking how to get this the magnifying glass to show you like this graphical. To have it, just highlight it and then click on it. Highlight, then click. You'll be able to see there. So you see it changed because right now it's using what? The index. So let's try to see if I drop the index. Okay, this value, drop an index. So to drop an index, you just simply write drop index, and then the name of the index is IDX sales rep, okay, on employees. Now let's execute this. I'd like to take this to a new page just to separate everything. All right, so if I drop, what will happen? Now I've dropped. As you can see here, I'm getting the green check. So let's try again to see if I highlight it. Okay, refresh. Do we still have it? No. Now, let me highlight it. So you can see it has gone back to what? Because I've dropped the index. It's now scanning the entire table. Okay? It's scanning the entire table. We don't want that. Because I've said you'll get a scenario where you have thousands of records and you want to improve the query performance. So you want to introduce what you call indexes. Instead of scanning the entire table, because when it scans the entire table, you're slowing the application. Your application becomes slow, right? Now, instead of that, because when a user just makes some queries on the front-end side or your application, maybe they want to just see the list of users who job title is set. So instead of waiting for like 3 seconds, why don't you just add what you call indexes to improve the query performance, to reduce the amount of time it takes for your table. So, I mean, for your server. So your server doesn't have to scan the entire table. So what it means is the server has to go through all these records. Do you see all these records? Okay. It has to scan everything here. It scans everything. It goes to line 1. Is this person job title sales rep? Then it adds. Okay, let me retrieve the entire employees there, right? Now it scans the entire table. Do we have, yeah, it goes to this one. Like for example, is this one sales rep? No, it leaves it. Is this one sales rep? It leaves it. So instead of having to do all that to check every row, just have it to check only rows that have the sales rep as the job title. So to improve that the performance, you use what? Indexes. I believe I'm clear on that. Yeah, you can react with a thumbs up if you understood. Now, let's go to creating users. So when creating users, but before we even touch on users, what do you guys understand by the term authentication and authorization? Authentication and authorization. Authentication and authorization. What do you understand by authentication and authorization? So what do you understand by the term authentication and authorization? Authentication and authorization. Should I type them here? Let me see if I can type these terms. These two terms, authentication, authorization. What do you understand by them? Authentication, authorization. Let me give you something very simple. Let's start with authentication. So I believe you all, okay, not all, you have maybe your sibling, right? Or you can have, let's go with a friend. Everyone has a friend. When you give your friend the phone, okay, you, maybe they want to check something real quick and maybe your phone was locked. They'll need to do what? To sign in, right? You'll give them a pattern, although some of you have a very complex pattern. Hey, now, for them to be able to sign in, okay, to your phone, we call that authentication. You allowing them to sign in or log into your phone. Now, you want them to access your Instagram account and maybe upload a picture of them. You'll do what? You'll authorize them. Number one, authentication is when they sign into your phone. Authorization is when you give them permission to maybe upload a picture to your a picture maybe on TikTok, right? TikTok or X, which other one? WhatsApp? Yeah, any other social media app that you know. So that's what you call authorization. But let's go to the computer definition. Okay, the MySQL Server. Now, authentication is when the root has given another user access to MySQL Server. Meaning, authentication is when a root has created another user, and then that user has access to that SQL server or that database or DBMS. Authentication. Authorization is when that user that you just created has permission to delete a table, to add a new table, to store new records in a table. That's what we call authorization. You've given them the authority to do some certain things in a table or a database. Now, let's start by creating a user. To create a user, it's simple. You just write create user, all right? And then let's call this user Agnes. At local host identified by 1, 2, 3, 4. That is the command we use to create a user. So we write create user Agnes at localhost. Localhost is your computer. Okay. Localhost means your computer. And then that name, this is the host name. Okay. And then the name of the user. And then this is the password they'll be using. So right now, if I execute, this user will be created. So let's execute from the top. We get a green check. Here it is. So that means you're good to go. We have created this user, but this user cannot do anything. Agnes cannot do anything at the moment. If, for example, I close, okay, just please, this is the point where you pay attention. Just look at what I'm doing. All right. Now, if I close the entire of that and then try to open it again, and then try to log in now as Agnes. Okay. I've closed it entirely. I want to log in as Agnes. How will Agnes sign in? Do you see this plus sign? Just pay attention. Please look. Okay. This plus sign. Just see where my mouse is. Please. Just see where my mouse is. This one over here. Click that plus sign. And then this window is gonna pop up. So it asks for connection name. Connection name can be anything. I'll just call it Agnes for remembrance, for easy remembrance. And then we have what you call TCP IP connection. Just leave that. That's for traffic. Okay, how you're sending requests, all that, the data and accessing. Now we have what you call the host name. Now this is your computer, the 127.0.0.1. Another name for this is localhost. We have what you call username root. So instead of root, let's call it Agnes, because we've just created the user Agnes. And then come to the password part. What password did we give to Agnes? It was 1, 2, 3, 4. And then say OK. This is where you get the OK button. Before you do anything else, you have to test the connection. Where do I get the test connection button? It's right here. This one here. If I click it, I'll get this new pop-up that says it's OK now. The connection has been created. I'll say OK. And then figure out what do I want now. I'll say OK. So we have Agnes. Agnes is here. So I want to log in as Agnes. If I log in, I don't see anything. I can only see my SQL Workbench. So what will happen? Let's try to create a database. Create database. Let's call it that. If I execute, I get an error. Here's the error, 1044. Access denied. Do you see where I'm getting the error? The error is here down. Access denied. So how do we move from access denied to allowing Agnes to create a database? Privilege. I said there are 3 types of privilege. Yeah, maybe you can remind us in the chats the type of privilege that I said. I said there are 3 types of privilege. Thank you, William, Nyambura. James, revoke. I did not say revoke is privilege. I said revoke is to remove, grant is to add. Okay. We have 3 types of privilege. Okay, they're not only 3, but there are others like column, privilege, disk proxy. You can always research on that. Now, but the main ones, global, database, and table. Let me write here. I said we have what? Global, and then we have database, another one, table. These are not the only ones. If you want to read more, this column, there's also what you call proxy, and so on. But let's just focus on these three. These are the main ones. Now, I want to assign Agnes what you call global privilege. What do I mean by global privilege? Such that initially when I had signed in, guys, do you remember I had campus, school, demo, SalesDB. I had so many databases. I want Agnes to be my assistant. I want them to also have access to maybe modify some certain data because I've already how do I put it now? Okay, I've already ensured that data Agnes is okay with the SQL commands and everything, right? Now I'm confident that if I leave Agnes permission to be a global user, she will be able to create a database, delete some certain database, or create another user. So we are signed in currently as Agnes. I want to sign out and sign back as root. Remember, root is the super user. So I'll just close it completely. Okay, then open it again. Go to my local connection. And then right there, my password. Okay, it says cannot connect to database server, close. What is that error now? Check my SQL is currently running on address 127. Let me see. Just close it again and open it again. Assign in as root. Let's try one more time. Okay, your connection attempt failed, but I've closed it entirely. Let me see. Did I change my password? No. Okay, I've logged in as Agnes, but I want to sign in as root. Oh, now I see why. Allow me to see where the challenge is coming from. Let me try a new connection. Oh, I know why. My caps lock was on. That's why I was getting those errors. Now I've signed in back as root, right? Now what I want to do is I want to give Agnes permission. So to give Agnes permission to see all this database that I'm currently seeing, I'll do what? I'll grant them all. So write grant, you can note this in your book, grant all, okay? That, okay? To the user is called Agnes at localhost. Just make sure when you sign in and when you sign out and sign back in, just make sure your caps lock is not on. That is why I was getting a lot of errors. At localhost, because that's the host name, localhost. Like that. So grant all on global. This is this is the sign that we use to assign global privilege to Agnes at localhost. So once I execute this, let's execute. We get a green check there. So allow me to sign out and sign back in as Agnes. Right now, I've made sure my caps lock is off. There is Agnes, right? Now, just pay attention. Okay, there we've signed in. Right now, I can see all the database. I can see the train booking, the school, the sales, demo, and campus. Have you seen how to assign the global privilege? Anyone who's confused on global privilege? So let's create another user. Now, I'll sign out and sign back in. There's another alternative, but I just want to show you how you can move back and move back in local connection. My caps lock is off. So once I've signed in like that, let me create a new user. So let's create a new user and then see how we can assign them what you call database privilege. So with database privilege, meaning this user will only have access to only that particular database that you will assign them. Okay. Now, to do that, we start by writing. We say to create a user, my caps lock is on, create user. And then let's call this user Abel. At the host name is localhost, like that. Identified by, okay, the password is, you can even write 1, 2, 3. It's up to you. So if you choose to write a complex password, just make sure you remember the complex password. All right. Now we want to give our guy here, Abel, access to this database, these cells only, not any other, only these cells. So let's execute. We have created him, right? The password is 123. Believe it's visible. Now, if I want to assign them a privilege of database cells, I'll write this. Grants all on, the name of the database is called cells db period, that one, star sign, and then to, okay, Abel at localhost. So once we execute, let's try. We've given Abel the permission. Now, what will happen if I sign out? Okay, let's try this new method. Come here. Did you see this house sign? This one. This one. Just see where my mouse is. There's like a house sign. If I click that, I'll be back here instead of closing and open. Let's create a new connection. We say this is Abel. Abel connection. And then the user is called Abel. My caps lock is off. And then store in vault was what? 1, 2, 3. You say, okay, test connection successfully made. MySQL connection, say, okay. And then say, okay. Now let's sign in as Abel. Let's try. When you sign in as Abel, what do you see? You see only the sales DB. Do we all see how to assign what you call database privilege? Okay. I've signed out as root and then signed in. Okay, I'll repeat the procedure. The procedure is here. We started off by creating a user. The user, we gave them this name, Abel. Their password was simple. Okay, you can always use a complex password. I know quite a number of you love complex password. You can use as long as you'll be able to remember. That is all that matters. Okay. But I like keeping mine simple, just for you guys to be able to understand. Now, create user Abel at localhost. Localhost is the host name, the computer, identified by that. And then we grant them permission. Grant all on cellsdb. This is the name of database. If I wanted to give them to this other one, demo, I'll have to change to that, or Compass, or which other one, train booking, and then execute this. They'll have permission to either change anything, and they have permission to do anything they want in the sales DB or the demo DB. Have you all understood on the database permission? Let's go to the final privilege. We call it table privilege. I'll create another user. So this time, this user will be called Winnie. So I want to create that. That is Winnie's password. I'll just comment this for now. Now, if you open, because currently I'm logged in as the root, right? When you open the sales DB, how many tables do you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? We have like 9 tables. We only want, because maybe Winnie is our sales lead, okay? We've just hired Winnie as our sales lead. And we want Winnie to be able to do anything within the customers table. Meaning, Winnie can either add a new customer, can delete our old customer who no longer purchase our product. She can also maybe change the name of the customer, do anything. So how do we do that? So I'll just come here and comment that. And so the name of the database is called sales, right? Sales DB. And then the table that we want to give them permission to is called what? Yes, let me see those who are paying attention. The name of the table that you want to give Winnie permission to is called what? Customer. Peter, thank you. Yes, customers. Like that. I'll just go to the next line for you guys to be able to read like that. So grant all on the name of the database. Inside this database, you'll find a table called customers. Oh, not Abel, but Winnie. Grant all on this database. Inside this database, you'll find a table with this name called customers. And then the name of the user that you just hired is called Win, because Win is our new sales lead. So let's execute all this all at once because I haven't executed. This is the first time. Okay. Okay, not that. Let's execute again. There. Create localhost there. There is Winnie, and then there's this. Okay. Sales DB to that. Now, since I've already given Winnie the permission, I'll sign out to see whether Winnie, to see what Winnie can access. I'll sign in again, I'll create a new connection. And then this one I'll call Winnie connection. Here is Winnie. And then, so involved, our password is 1, 2, 3, like that. Say okay, test connection. It's okay. Now you're good to sign in. Now let's sign in as Winnie. We see the sales DB. If I open the sales DB tables, which table do I see? Only the customers. Have we all seen? Are we all together? Only the customers. That's the only table they can see. Why? Because we've given Winnie what you call table privilege. We gave Abel what you call database privilege. We gave Agnes what you call global privilege. Now, another way of creating a user, allow me to sign in back as the root. So here we are signed in as root. So I can still go to Winnie's connection or Abel, but here local connection is my root. Now, since I'm signed in as root, I can come here to the administration part, come to users and privilege. You're gonna see the users that you just created. Where is that users now? Abel is there. So if I open administrative roles, you see nothing. And then if I open schemas, we see Abel has what? Only the sales DB privilege. It can do anything within this database. It can either select, insert, update, delete, execute, create, all this. You can see it's check, check, check. Now, where is Agnes? Agnes. There is Agnes, right? If I come to administrative roles, You can see it's checked, 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 checked. All these are almost quite a number of things are checked. Reason being, we gave Agnes what you call global privilege. Let's try with Winnie. What will Winnie have? Winnie does not have anything because they only have access to table. It's that simple. So we started with global global table and database. Once you understand that, you're good. So what will, okay, I saw a question. How do we change a password? To change the password of a user that you just created. Because I'll make sure I'm root, right? And then I want to change Winnie's password instead of 123 to be now 1234. So this one is for, I'll just separate them. Change password. To change password, we use alter. Alter user. Who is the user? Winnie at localhost. Okay. Identified. By 123. Exact. If I execute, since I'm the root, identified. Misspelling. That way. So if I execute, let's see what will happen. I'll just comment this so that the server won't run this again. Also this. So let's just try to execute only this. We get, okay, not there, not yet. Let's execute. We get alter user Winnie at localhost identified by 123. So I'll sign out. Let's try to sign back in with Winnie's password. So you can, as you can see, I'm being prompted to enter a password because we changed Winnie's password. So if I enter 123 and then say okay, again I'm asked to enter the password. What will happen if I enter 1234? I get to sign in. Have you all understood on how you can change the password? Now to change the password, I say you just write this command, alter user, this one here, this one, Winnie at localhost. Initially it was 123. Good thing I did not clear. I did not delete them. Initially it was this one, but right now I changed it to 1234. Alter user Winnie at that. Okay, maybe I'm done with Winnie. How do I delete Winnie from accessing, or I prevent Winnie from accessing the table again? Using the drop user. So to delete a user, drop user Winnie at local host. I'll comment these other ones because I don't want them to be executed. I only want the one to delete. So the same applies to whether if you want to delete the Abel user or Agnes. So delete user Winnie at localhost. If I execute, we get a green check here. Let's try to sign in. I'm Winnie, right? What will happen? If I write 1234, I get cannot, the initial error that I was getting, cannot connect to database server. Yeah, I'm sure my caps lock is not on, it's off. Yeah, I can even, I don't know how. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Let's try with 1, 2, 3. She does not have access. Why? Because we deleted the user Winnie using the drop command. drop user Winnie at localhost. Now let's learn what we call roles. I'm signing back as root. Yeah, if you're wondering how I'm able to sign back to how where I was, do you see here at the top? There's local connection, there's Abel's connection, there's Winnie's connection, there's another Winnie's connection. So if you just click on that, I'm in root. If I click the other one, I'm in Abel's connection. If you click this other one, right now I know I'm able to access because I'd opened it earlier, but if I close it and try again, it will not work. So we have Abel and the root connection because we still have Abel. So if you want to delete Abel, you just replace here with Abel. Let's learn another concept called roles. So today morning, I promised the morning guys that I was gonna show them how to sign in using roles. Okay, once you create roles and then you give them permission, how do you sign into your database? I'll show you now. Now let's start by creating roles. I'll create few roles. Okay, I'll remove this. Create, we use the word create. Create roles, okay? Or role, not roles. I can create a role for maybe sales dev. Okay, I want to have roles for the devs and maybe the clients and which other the admin, but they'll be accessing this what you call the sales DB, right? So I can come here and write sales. This is just the name, sales devs. Okay. I can create another one for sales client, another one for sales admins or admins like that. That is, so that's how you can create the role. Is it visible on your end? So create role. This is the first role. This role, I'll be using it to assign all my developers under this role. All the clients will be under this role. Maybe it's just the receptionist wants to read data from the sales DB. How do you assign a role? So you can assign them the role of a client. Their work is to only read. And then we have admins. Admins are those people who can maybe write. They can also do a few things, okay? Their permission is elevated, not like the client. But the devs have an entire control of the database, how the database structure looks like. They have an entire control. If they want to delete the database, they can do that. So you can give them any name. It doesn't have to be theirs. You can even try with maybe for teachers, students, staff, and things like that. Now, if I execute, we execute from here, we get green check. We have sales dev, that. We have created the role. That is all about the roles. Now, how do we assign or how do we grant privilege or permission to these sales devs or the sales client? So to do that, I'll write, we use the permissions. So we start by writing grant, okay? Because we've said we are going to work with the sales DB, right? So grant, okay? Grant all on the name of the database is called sales DB. That, close it like that. A period, then a star sign. 2 is just like plain English, sales dev. The other one is grant. Select. Why? Because we only want them to read. Only to read. Not do anything else. Only to read. Okay. Grant select. On cells. Supposed to be cells DB. Like that. To the other role is called sales client. Now, finally, the sales admin. The sales admin can either add a few tables, they can remove just elevated permission, not like the devs, okay? Oh, sorry, not like the clients. The clients, the only work is to read. But the sales admin can do something, can create another table, can maybe try to update records, but the sales dev can delete the entire database, and they have complete control. So we can grant select, update, delete, insert. On that one, like that. To the sales admin. That's how you create them. You assign them privilege. So grant all on, because we want them to only have access to this. We are creating roles such that, for example, these devs can create a new application that will be used to track maybe sales order. And then we want maybe if someone comes to the organization, the receptionist will be able to maybe make some certain retrieve to that tables, and then maybe show some of our clients how the data of sales is going and things like that. Now, if I execute this, let me just comment this so that you don't get error that already exists. So we can execute. So grant to sales dev, and then grant to that, grant to that. So we are good on that. We have already given them permission. That's how you give them permission, using the grant. If I wanted to remove, okay, I'll just come to the revoke. Okay, now let's create users, new users now. I'll comment that. I'll create user. The name of this user, Evelyn. At okay, Mr. Evelyn. Identified by like that. So once execute, let's execute. We've created our first user. There's Evelyn. We can create another one. Abdi. We've created the other one, Abdi. The final one is Gavin. So I've created 3 users. I want to assign these users to certain roles. So how do we assign them to roles now? So to assign to roles, you need to get the name of the role, and then so we'll write, let me get some new working area. Grant sales devs to Evelyn at localhost. Like that. That's the first one. And then the other one, grant the sales client, okay, to Kelvin at localhost. Finally, grant sales admin to Abdi at localhost. Like that. So we have the grant sales devs. Where am I getting this? These are the roles that we created earlier. Yeah. So once I execute this, let's execute from the top. We get the grant sales to that. Now, let's see if the roles have been, what permission do they have now? So let's write this, okay, to show. Okay, I'll not move it so that you can write. So to show the permission, you write show grants for Evelyn at localhost using the sales devs, like that. So if I execute, we'll see here, just, I don't know if I'm able to maximize this. So grant usage on all to Evelyn at localhost, grant all privilege on sales to that, grant sales devs to Evelyn. Now, so I want Evelyn to be able to sign in, but now to sign it to this database. So to do that, I'll need to set what you call a default role. That is what I was forgetting in the morning session. Now, set, I'll comment this, set default, okay, default role, sales devs to Evelyn at localhost, like that. So I want Evelyn to be able to sign in using the terminal, okay? Because they don't have permission to do that. So set default role, sales dev to Evelyn at localhost. Execute. We get that. So let's try now. I'll open my CMD, just pay attention. Let me maximize. Now I'll sign in my SQL -u. What is the name of the user? Evelyn, right? Which database is Evelyn trying to sign in? We write here -p be prompted to enter password. And then the name is sales DB, like that. Once I press enter, I write 1, 2, 3, 4, because that's the password I gave Evelyn. If I press enter, I get access denied for sales DB using -p. Not again. Let me just check. 1, 2, 3, 4. My caps lock is off. Okay, if this one rejects, we can use a different way. Set default role all to Evelyn at localhost. Comment this one if this one is not working. Okay, let's try again. Sales, oh. There, I've signed in. Okay, let me exit and then sign in. CLS. So I know where I was making the mistake. Initially, I was writing my my commands with a semicolon. No, this is not supposed to be here. It's only supposed to be MySQL -u, Evelyn, that's the name of the user, -p to be prompted to enter the password, and then the name of the database. Okay, so if I press enter, so 1, 2, 3, 4, I've signed in like that. So yeah, maybe that is what I was forgetting to maybe show you in today morning. Now, show tables. So you can see the list of table that Evelyn has access to. She has access to customers, employees, offices, order details. We can even try to drop. Okay, let me write in uppercase. Drop table student. Like that. The name is smaller. Yes. If I show the tables again, it has disappeared. Right? Because Evelyn had what? Evelyn has what? This the dev's permission. And remember, when I was creating the roles, I'd given Evelyn what? The permission to do everything within the sales DB here. There. Grant all on sales DB to sales dev. So how do we remove then permission to a given user? We can use what we call revoke. So to revoke, it's simple. You just write revoke. This does not have a lot of things to write. Simply write revoke. Okay. All the grant option from the sales devs. Let's try to execute this. We get the green check. Let's try to sign back in with Evelyn. Let's see if Evelyn will be able to sign back in. We get what? Okay, that is not the correct password. 1, 2, 3, 4. We get access denied for user Evelyn at localhost to database self-db. So they cannot do anything else because we've revoked all their permission. Yeah, I don't think I've left anything else. And the revoke part, yeah, we've touched on revoke. We've touched on the grant, MySQL roles, and also the privilege. Yes, so I'm going to stop the recording so that I can take in your question. I know you have a lot of questions, but before I even touch on the questions part, I don't know if last week we created the train booking. So currently I'm trying to develop a small system just to show you how you can incorporate database with the programming languages and then create like a simple application to purchase tickets. Okay. So we have our database here, right? These are the guys we can maybe appreciate. We can appreciate them. Just clap for them. At least they tried. They did an amazing work. We have Kanti, Mariposa, Tabitha, Priscilla, Chege, Linda, Stanley, and Felix. We also have, so if you want to try it, you can just come and copy the way it is. If you copy and then come back here, I'll open a new working area because I already have it. I'll just drop the one that I have because I want to create a new one. So drop database, train booking DB. I hope to complete the system before next week and then show you. So I'll paste whatever I have. There it is. So that's all I've copied from that repo, right? If I execute, we get all that, and then do I have it now? Refresh. There we have it. All the tables are there. So you can practice with this. You try to insert data, try to delete, change the way they are, and things like that. And for this week, we have a new open source that is currently ongoing. I don't know if it is filled. It is the Airbnb. So first, you can start by maybe drawing this architecture diagram, not the ERD, not architecture. Just go through it, try to understand where is data moving from and going to. And then come to issues. Op is not filled. Okay, yeah, we have issues that are not filled. Yeah, so you can go, and if you want to do or want to work on any issue, just let me know. And then I'll assign you. So I'll assign 2 people on one issue so that one of you to do, and then the other one can review. And then once you've completed reviewing, notify me so that I can merge it. And we're also using what you call a Kanban to just manage your projects. So for these people who have already started their project, you can see it's currently in progress. So yeah, I'm gonna stop the recording, then take in question. All right, just give me 1 minute. Okay, for those watching, this is where we stop, and then